Susan Laurie Parks uses the three-card Monte game, the street hustle, the con game, three-card Monte, as a kind of metaphor for theater itself. This is a play that centers on characters who are involved in a kind of performing arts, a debased one, a dishonest one, a kind of performing art that does not admit its essence. The heart of Three Card Monte is it pretends to be an actual game of chance which one could win, when in fact it is a hustle, then you are never going to win. The dealer always wins, it's a cheat. Um, and Lincoln also works in his surreal job in a kind of very strange, debased theatrical at the arcade, playing President Lincoln getting assassinated in this game where you can play to shoot President Lincoln. That's very strange. It's worth noting that the characters here are performing artists of whatever lonely, sad, debased kind. It's also very important that both characters are liars, cheats, and hustlers. Both Lincoln and Booth are liars. They're professional liars and criminals, right? I mean, Booth would like to be a three-card Monte dealer, and he's inept at it. He turns out to be a very gifted shoplifter. We have only two characters on stage. They are both, in different ways at different moments, liars. I'm not saying there's a character assassination. Lying is part of the job that they have had, used to have, want, etc. There's no honest three-card Monte dealers. Lying is the essence of the game. This also creates a problem, though a fortuitous problem for us. We have two characters whose words we cannot trust. It's a two-character play. It's the gold standard of modern production. Man, you want a good two-character play because you only want to pay two actors. Simple two-hander, goes two acts, it's great. There are a number of other characters who exist entirely offstage, who exist only in Lincoln and Booth's language about them, in what they tell us. We cannot trust all of that language. We cannot trust everything these two characters say about what they do, where they go, who they interact with when they're not on stage with us, because they lie to each other and to themselves to various degrees. We will talk much more about self-deception too. But the deception is core to who these characters are on some level. Like theater involves a certain kind of deception, though it's up front, you know it's a play. That problem, first of all, you shouldn't trust anything these two characters say about the offstage characters because they're liars, but more importantly, because they are characters in a play, because the only thing that exists is their language. These two characters come on stage, what they do and say, the words on the page, the things that get said on stage, that is all that exists in this play. Everything that happens offstage is just a theory, a hypothesis we have to explain some of the language we hear. I want to drive this home to you. The fictional world of a play, a novel, a poem, anything, the imaginary world that is represented is not quite what we study. We study the act of representation itself. Don't get caught up in trying to figure out what Grace or Cookie or the mother and father are like. Don't get caught up in too much about the Link's best customer or the little boy he allegedly meets and cons on a bus, if indeed that happened, or what happens down at the bar if either of these characters ever actually go to that bar. Pay attention to what they are doing in the moment when they speak, because that is real. The characters perform speech acts on each other and on themselves. They lie to each other. They deceive each other. They try to persuade each other. They flatter each other. They undercut each other. They insult each other. These are the things we can track. And this is what actually happens in the play. What happens in a piece of literary art is not what is depicted. It is what the language itself does, how it makes us see that. So don't get caught up. You will see some critics actually trying to work out what happens off stage. Really, the real answer is all the action is on stage. All the action is in the act of deceiving, of these characters deceiving themselves and each other.